Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. The honors go out to the apostles, elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. Shalom Barakim to you brothers and sisters out there. Alright, this is the brother Malachi for the Great Millstone Nashville Camp. And Lord, when up this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect. Alright, I got pulled up here, 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 40, which I'll probably start at 39. You know, and just read down. I'm not sure how far I'm going to read. Not too far, though. But and the reason why I'm starting here is because I wanted to actually go into that word pilgrim real quick as well. Because I looked up earlier this morning, what is the mentality, you know, or what would the mentality be of a pilgrim? You know, like, you know, because we're spiritually pilgrims. So I looked that up on chat, and I'm going to bring that out. But let me go ahead and read this first real quick, and then I'll go into that, and then we'll read on down, and we'll see where we go from there. Alright, so this is 2nd Ezra, chapter 16. Hold on, let me get some water real quick. Let me get some water real quick. Hold on. Alright. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 39. Where I'm starting at. It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. That's what we're seeing. Right? The whole earth is getting ready to feel Yahweh Shai's wrath. Alright, sorrows will come all over the planet Earth, but especially here in America. Alright, Babylon the Great, that whore that's waiting to be judged. She's going to get it the worst, you see. Because Jacob's trouble is a global thing, but we know that's especially going to be prevalent, if that's the proper wording, here in America. Alright, which is where the 1/3 and the 2/3 are is here in America, in the United States. And then, of course, you got the remnant across the globe that's going to be saved, and you got the rebels across the globe that are going to be destroyed. Alright, just because you're over in Europe, alright, so-called Europe or Asia or Africa or some random island over in the Pacific Ocean, it doesn't change the fact that if you're an Israelite, judgment will come. Alright, if you're not right in the eyes of Yahweh Shai. So, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 40. And it says, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle. And in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Alright, so that's where we get the coin pilgrims. Let me go ahead and get this on chat and show you what I was looking at earlier. So it says mentally. Right, this is what applies to being a pilgrim mentally, right? And fuck the Edomite pilgrims. We're not talking about them with the big ass hats. Alright, fuck them. Alright, but you know, a pilgrim, somebody basically, let's get the regular Google definition, shall we? Or rather, let's get the etymology. I already got that pulled up. Pilgrim, a person traveling to a holy place. There you go. It says also a traveler, a wayfarer. Alright, and yeah, especially that traveling to a holy place. You know, we're going back to the land of Israel. Alright, but now we're not physically doing that. You know, and you ain't got no business physically doing it anyway, because what do you gain? Oh, here I am, I'm in Tel Aviv. That's terrible. That's a terrible place to be right now. Because first of all, remember, Israel is going to be destroyed in the Third World War by thermonuclear missiles. That land has to be cleansed. Second of all, the land is so defiled. Tel Aviv is also known as what? Pink City? One of the biggest Mo parades is held there. Why would you want to be there? Right? The scriptures tell us that Yahweh Shai is going to set us back in the land. So we don't need to buy no damn ticket, you know, to go to the land of Israel. You ain't got no business doing that. A one-way ticket. No. Don't even visit. Why? You're wasting your money. Right? Let's go ahead and get brought back to the land of Israel by Yahweh Shema Shai and see the glory of the land of Israel in its finest. Right? Under Yahweh Shai ruling. You don't want to see it. A bunch of bullshit right now, man. Alright, but still, that's a heavy definition there. So let's go ahead and start with mentally. That's what we're reading, my bad. I'm not going into physical. So, good lord, this traffic.
Increase following distance.
So it says holding possessions loosely. It says you appreciate what you have, right? And the Lord has not left us destitute, right? If you look up the definition of destitute, it goes into basically lacking the basic necessities of life. Well, you look in the book of Sirach about the principal things of life. We have all those things, do we not? Yahweh Shema Shai is giving us our daily bread. We're good, man. You know, we're not wanting for nothing. You know, now did Jake want more of this, more of that? Yeah, but that's not what's necessary and that's not what's needed. All right, we'll get all that in the kingdom, man. Right now, our focus is receiving that daily bread. You know, yeah, we got to wait for our power. Like it says on the back of that truck. You know, we're not looking to be rich and famous here, man. Because you see what, and it's not to say everybody, but it could be. You see all the, you see what all the so-called rich and famous people have to do to get that status. All right, why would you want to be a somebody in a world of wickedness? The only way to be a somebody in the world of wickedness is to be wicked. Okay? Just like the only way to be a somebody in the world to come is by being righteous. You know, Esau's not going to have no place. Nobody's going to give a fuck about no goddamn Jacob Rothschild, David Rockefeller. Oh yeah, that's that Edomite bum. No, nobody's going to give a fuck about him, man. He's not going to have no type of status in the world to come, in the real world, you know? Right now he does. Well, not David, well, he's gone. But, and Jacob, well, yeah, he might be gone. But, we'll see. Regardless, fuck both of them Edomites. They're top tier enemies of the nation of Israel, and they need to be addressed as such. So fuck them. All right, but anyways, it says, but you don't define yourself by your house, car, money, or status. All right. Expecting change. This is a big one here. All right, because we're patiently waiting for the day of the Lord. Right. Habakkuk 2. Though it tarry, wait for it will surely come. It will not tarry. All right, it's not going to be much longer. Our salvation is nearer than when we believe. Romans 13:11. You see, so all we got to do is continue to fight, man. Fight for Yahweh Shema Shai, and before you know it, hey, we're going to be green. All right? So it says, expecting change. Like a traveler, you know your surroundings are temporary rather than permanent. Right? Oh, this shit is temporal, right? Let me go ahead and get that. The blue letter so I don't lose my footing there. Boom, boom. Here we go. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17 to 18. It says, for our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen, right? Because going into things that are seen, that deals with what? Carnal, right? The flesh, not what your eyes can feast upon. All right, but it says we're looking for the things that are not seen, right? The kingdom of heaven, right? Righteousness being established on the planet Earth with an iron fist. Nobody's going to do no wickedness no more. You're getting punished, and all Israel ain't going to have a choice because we're all going to have them new bodies. We're going to love to do nothing other than righteousness. All right, it says, for the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Let's get that in the NLT, verse 18. It says, so we don't look at the troubles we can see now, rather we fix our gaze on things that cannot be seen. For the things we see now will soon be gone, right? And a lot of these things are going to be what? Destroyed by fire. All right, like Apostle Peter said, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in holy conversation and godliness? See, and look at that, the spirit. Even in the worst case scenario, there is faith. Right? There's always faith, man. Nobody can take that from us. Romans 8. Nobody can take that from us. But let me put this on Do Not Disturb. I didn't even realize I was on. But that was the spirit. All right, it says, for the things we see now will soon be gone, but the things we cannot see will last forever. Right, the kingdom of heaven is forever, man. It's never going to end. Right, and then we remember in Romans it tells us what? The wages of sin is death. In the kingdom of heaven, Israelites will not sin. The laws will be written in them. Right? They'll have that heart of flesh instead of the heart of stone. They'll have the new bodies, be under the new covenant. There will be no more sin for the Israelites. Meaning there will be no death. No death or illness or crying or anything. Right? Like it says in Romans 21:4. One of my all-time favorite scriptures, especially when it comes to comfort. No more bullshit, man. You know, and that you can't find it here because even, you know, like Biggie Smalls said, more money, more problems. A lot of Jake, they seem to be under this illusion that, well, you know, because they see it like, yo, well, a lot of my, you know, like some of my base level problems they deal with money. Okay, so yeah, you'll get the money and those problems will vanish, but there'll be more that pop up in their place. You see? The problem is, you know, Jake will put all his money into the car. Oh yeah, I got the rims and I got the stereo system. Yeah, but you got you got 2 out of 6 spark plugs. You see, so all that extra shit really don't matter at the end of the day because there's something deeper going on, right? You got that check engine light on, and Jake over here, you know, well, I got all the bumps out. You know, we're not talking about the bumps and the scratches and the new tire. We're talking about the engine itself, man. That money is not going to solve your fucking problems. Okay? It's not going to solve your problems, and it's damn sure not going to save you in the time of Yahweh Shemel Shai's wrath. Right? And that's one thing I've been meditating on recently. If the elites can't escape the judgment of Yahweh Shemel Shai, as it says in Amos the 9th chapter at the beginning, what the hell makes you think that your black ass can? Right? That doesn't make any sense. Okay? We need to acknowledge that our problems cannot be solved except through Yahweh Shemel Shai. And even then, you know, because they'll be solved, but they're not going to be solved like how a lot of Jake in the world wanted to be solved. They wanted to get fixed, and then the next day they go back to normal, living their life here. No, the way these things are going to get solved is all of our lives coming to an end here. And I'm not talking about death. Right? I'm talking about the destruction of America, you know, the judgment going across the earth, you know, the societal collapse. We're waiting on these things to happen. All right, because those are going to be the monumental moments that show us, okay, our suffering is coming to an end. We just got to endure a little longer, right, through the climax of Jacob's trouble, and we'll be in the kingdom forever. Because we decided to put our interest in heaven, right? We, like Yahushua said, store up treasures in heaven, where moth nor rust doth corrupt. Because you got to figure too, let's say, which, you know, absolutely save your money. All right, do what you got to do, you know, upgrade yourself, you know, within reason. You know, don't go crazy with it. Don't start sacrificing, you know, doing lessons and camp and fellowships for some fucking bread. You know, I get it, brother. You know, oh, we're hanging out tonight, Ak, you want to pull up? You know, nah, I got to make this bread. That's different. But I'm saying you did one video in the past 2 weeks and you were only at camp for 30 minutes because you're trying to make some money. Well, now there's a problem because now we're not prioritizing. Right now we're not understanding who's the one that put that food in your stomach to begin with, which is Yahweh Shemel Shai. All right, or who's the one that gave you that money and that job to begin with, right? So we just got to make sure we prioritize these things. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to that, and that's spirit. Third one is prioritizing God's will. There you go. Right, as part of being a pilgrim, you got to understand that the mission is what matters. All right, everything else is subject to change except this ministry. Right, you might lose your job, or you gotta get another job, or another place to stay, or another car, or even another woman, but you don't get another Lord. Right, you don't get another God. Right, you only have Yahweh B'Shem Shai, and that's all we need. All right, but that's not interchangeable. You know, you can lose and gain these other things again. All right, well, you know, I lost this job. You know, this didn't work out, that didn't work out. Let me get another one. Oh, my car broke down. You know, it costs too much to fix it. I might as well just get another one. Oh, my woman left. You know, she's being a bitch. She's bugging out got demons on her, won't get right. You know, she left me. You know, oh, well, get another one. You know, which in that situation, maybe don't. You know, maybe it's just best, and maybe the Lord's telling you maybe you should just be to yourself. You know, me personally, I have one woman, you know, and I have desired to have another, you know, like as a side or whatever, you know, because we're men, right? You know, Jake, we're men, man. I mean, there's really nothing else you can say to that. You know, it's perfectly fine for a man to have more than one woman, but the reality is it just hasn't worked out, and it doesn't work out, and I'm not going to force the course of the river. So, you know, if something like that comes or happens, then it is what it is. You know, and it's also not for every brother. You know, look, what the focus here is the ministry, right? It's not like we can start a family anyways. Whether you have one woman or 15, you can't start a family here, right? This is hell, right? There's no point in planting seed, you know? There's no point in doing these things. It's all vanity, right? Which actually, that's the spirit as well, because that connects back with this. All right, so let me go ahead and go back into the 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. And it says verse 41, because this is going into all the people that, you know, aren't living as pilgrims and actually put the, you know, basically pour out their spirit, pour out their soul into Babylon the Great. All right, so it says, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth as if he should not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. They that marry as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. And therefore they that labor, labor in vain. All right, and that's the key point right there. You know, if you're investing yourself in this world, you know, you got people that are still stuck up on, and I don't even know how or why. I mean, I obviously it's because people are blinded, right? The Lord has put that blindfold over them, so they can't see. They don't know what the hell is going on. But you would think that if somebody had, you know, an inkling of circumspection, of understanding where the hell they're at, what time they're in, there's absolutely no point to even think about having a 401k, you know, having a retirement plan, having a 10-year plan. There's no point in that. Do you not see where society is going very rapidly? You're 22 years old, you're 31 years old, you're 40 years old, and you really think you're going to be here another 30, 40, 50 fucking years? No, bro. No. There's even people that don't believe in the Bible, don't believe in God, don't believe in nothing, man, and they'll tell you that this shit is over with, bro. You know? So you plan accordingly, you do it with that information as you will. And now that doesn't, we don't tell brothers, hey bro, we only possibly got a couple years left, if that. Just go ahead and ball out and blow all your checks and get fat and drink till you throw up. Nobody's fucking saying that, right? Matter of fact, you hear the opposite, right? Get your house in order, make sure you're good. You know, invest in gold, silver if you can. You know, put some money to the side. Take care of your health. Right, just because we only possibly got a couple years, if that, don't mean, hey, fuck it, bro, just start eating Cheetos. That's not wisdom, right? That's not wisdom, and if you can't handle, you know, this body, and you're gonna treat it like that and just feed it all this manner of body. And I'm not saying it's like my diet is perfect, or I have some, you know, I need to work on myself, okay? But I'm not over here eating McDonald's and drinking Kool-Aid and Mountain Dew and Monster energy drinks and all that bullshit, man. So, you know, there's always room for us to improve, all right? But don't neglect your body, don't neglect your health, man. You know, because even when you take care of yourself, you take herbs and you fast, and you do all these things, you'll still end up with ailments. You'll still end up getting sick. You know, all these things will still happen just simply because we're in the flesh and because, you know, we're in hell. But that doesn't mean that you neglect these things, okay? So what we're telling you is the time is short, so be on point. That's what we're telling you. We're not telling you. Now we're telling Esau, right? Because in Lamentations 4:22 it says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. Now he can go ahead and get fat and drink till he blacks out and do, you know, party on the rooftop, damn near fall off the side of the balcony. He can do those things. He should do those things because this is his last hoorah. This is his last chance of rest and relaxation until he's getting a foot in his ass for 1,000 years and then completely destroyed off the earth. You see? So that's all I got to say on that. You know, and I pray it was edifying and exhorting. You know, Lord willing it was. Before I close, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem El Shai, Ba'Shem Rakak Badash. Double honors the apostles, elders, great millstone. Shalom.